insight coming in. PvT in the new patch is unwinnable for Protoss. There is not a single useful full buff for Protoss in any competitive game. Mothership buff is equal to useless. High Templar nerf is equal to Ghost winning every Michael battle with EMP. Raven buff versus Protoss equals another Ghost unit that does half HP damage to every Protoss unit now available early game without any off-tech required. Spam tanks plus Raven equals every ground army evaporates from Protoss. Tempest nerf is terrible nerf. The cost is still extremely high. Tech path is extremely high. And you just nerf half its HP rolling on the floor laughing. Now this unit is literally, quote, only make versus BC and Broodlord. With its abysmal damage per second versus anything that isn't a siege unit. Because it won't be able to survive any macro game. Extra speed is useless when you can just chase it with faster tier 1 units. Carrier nerf equals no one will ever make this unit again because it's so bad. Versus Terran. Just build 10 Marines and they will snipe each and every single interceptor coming out one by one without doing any damage at all. Magical Marines. Removing the DPS from interceptors by nerfing upgrades and its double attack is one of the most Terran-favored balance I've ever seen. Now, intermission. That removing the double attack is actually a buff because it's not affected as much by armor, but not important. Not important in the context of this conversation. Widowmine's buff back. Everyone's spamming Widowmines like Maru does and winning without any actual micro at all. Medevac buff. I didn't know they added an auto attack to Widowmines. I really hope that makes it into the balance map. Medevac buff equals press button, rush in base, drop Widowmine, let them proc? You mean have press boost again because it's off cooldown again and get out without Protoss being able to do any damage whatsoever due to cloaking Widowmines plus focus firing cannons. With your Widowmines plus Soul Observer that people can permascan to snipe, losing valuable gas for Protoss. Every Protoss versus Zerg is now forced to do the Immortal All-In, which is a very, very underground build, because I don't even know it. Because Zerg economy is still unchanged. And if the balance crew even watched the GSL/WCS games, you can see every PvZ macro game equals Zerg having twice as many units that he literally A-move. Because Protoss can't get on equal footing without doing damage at all. Because Immortal's build time is too long to even be able to counter mass roaches even on 2 Robo. And now with Hydra buff, with Burrow equals easy snipe to any. We've kind of bled off the PvT part, by the way. This is a tangent. Any Warp Prism attacks with the magical Hydras that are burrowed in every location. What is this patch trying to force Protoss to do? Spam Colossus? The plural is Coloxin. I just want to... Which they nerfed during HOTS to oblivion. They did not nerf Colossi in Heroes of the Storm. The mobility buff is plain useless. Yes, it does more shots when you micro it, but only the fringe cases where you micro. But The fridge case is where you micro one Colossus versus mass Marines is when you accidentally rallied it to your opponent's base. Looking at the current game, they're trying to force Protoss to get a high eco to spam Tempest, but remove all the early game options to even get a third out. But wait, okay, that's 2 sentences. Raven, EMP will be extreme early game damage potential from early game Terran. Press F to pay respects to Protoss. I see no flaws in his argument. Oh. Here's a reply. Raver replies to this post. He says, God forbid Terran has an improved late-game Terran versus Protoss and has a chance to compete in the ultra-late game. Would you prefer Pro-Terrans continue to proxy in every single Terran versus Protoss? Also, give it some time. None of the changes have been finalized yet, so they will likely be toned down. A chance? This isn't giving Terran a chance. This is making the race free win versus anyone on equal skill. Terrans proxy every single game because it's a broken strategy, and everyone is bandwagoning on. Note Cyclone Armor Nerf, because it gives you a free road to GM. I learned how to do it effectively within a day, and I don't even play Terran. Terran already has a very solid late game plan versus Toss. Oh, we're clapping. Everybody clap. Clap. Okay. From literally winning in the early game with dropping and disrupting Protoss economy. Note the new Hellion plus Cyclone build. Well, I don't... Okay. Kill probes when you're killing Natural Expand. There's EMP for Templar. There's Vikings for Tempest. There's tanks and Liberators and Ghosts for everything on the ground. Terrans already have it extremely easy, with half their army being able to siege and forget in a defensive position. Alright, good points. Let's see if anyone rebuts it. Let's see. Oh, I think this is just a continuation. And if you really have problems with carriers as a Terran, you need to learn how to, which I just learned is a single word, upgrade, because he's done it like 3 times, your Marines and actually use the eco lead you get with harassment. Okay, we're actually going to switch. We're going to switch to speech mode. Marines en masse can already kill every interceptor without the extreme nerf. Add to that Widow Mines do splash damage to every interceptor as well. Then, if you have such a huge eco lead as Terran, you can enmass battle cruisers and spam your motto on basically everything. Cost for maxed out battle cruisers beat everything in its current state. Getting to maxed out battle cruisers, mines, and ghosts composition, however, no one seems to get. You have issues with Blink Stalkers blinking in and sniping your battle cruisers. Why the hell is it not backed up with a minefield? Because most Terrans don't know how to play their own race. That's what you get when Terrans can win by pressing a button to siege, dumbing down the game. TVP is not early game balanced. As long as Widow Mines are available to early game drop, Terran will always be favored early. It does guaranteed damage. If Protoss micros its 1 probe, you still lose. The threat also makes Protoss unable to even push or do a timing without overcommitting to defenses, which also still allows mines to do damage, making Phoenix/Oracle auto losses to a well-placed mine. Spamming observers equals Protoss losing gas for tech, 75 gas a pop. I am in Masters. Terran always has the eco advantage due to mules, plus harass options with Widow Mines and Hellions. And now, this is where we get down to it. this is where we get into the weeds. Is he Masters? He's been Masters in 1v1. Not this season. Has played 513 career games. Makes me feel like it might not be his first account. He did pick up a win. He was on quite a winning streak. Since he's a Masters player in 1v1, as you can see. 2015 was a great year for him. As was 2014, it does seem. Alright, back to the real content. You're not Masters and have never been. This is my NA account. EU account. Of course. Well, we knew... I believe him. He has an EU account. You saw how he spelled favored. And he's salty. So let's take a look. I love cookies. Who doesn't love cookies? Total career games, 15,000. Also, Protoss can't out-expand versus Cyclone all-ins. Every Terran is doing ever since Marauders got buffed. Raven equals huge buff versus Protoss. Early mid-game breaking. Medevac equals huge buff. Mines equal unnecessary late-game buff. I hate those. Protoss basically got nerfed all around, especially versus Snowflake Race Terran. But it looks like the comments continue. And we're still going. Good thing you cannot read to make a point. You're just an idiot, etc. Shield batteries. Cyclone pushes come alongside other units. One Immortal can easily get sniped. And if there's a drop with Hellions or Mines in the main, good luck with your Adept Immortal without losing half your worker lines. And you must be completely oblivious to the fact! The fact! Protoss hasn't done that since the Marauder buff. Because they all get stomped by proxies. Every single expand opener Protoss does is not good versus it, as long as the Terran can scout Protoss reactions. Seeing that early Robo with your Reaper that came way too early because it's proxied, for instance. But of course, you watch NA pros or something rolling on the floor, laughing. Raffle what? Immortal's getting sniped. This guy doesn't have... Okay. We're going to talk more about Showtime versus Zest. By the way, doubt he watched Showtime versus Zest yesterday. Unless, like, that was from, like, GSL versus the world, and also that's a PvP, so I'm not sure what Kong here is talking about, but anyways, I'm gonna read, offers his response. You watch PvP, you know, he's got a point here, and you're trying to talk about PvT balance? Nice irony on your last sentence. Immortals will die if they are batted somewhere where there is no shield battery. Okay. Added to that, I understand that you don't know how to, once again, play because you are Terran, but you can proc. Okay, let's make one thing clear. Proc is programmed random occurrence, and the Immortal Shield is triggered by an attack, which, if your Immortals are just getting randomly, like if your Immortals have a fuck ton of fangirls, they get baited out past the shield battery, and the fangirls start throwing flowers and shit at them, and it procs the Immortal Shield, I can understand. I guess that makes sense. Especially with Zest, right? I imagine Zest has droves of fangirls. Anyways. Or, were you saying I should just let Little Mines in my main kill all my workers and try to sprinkle it with 0 DPS Adepts? 0. Because of slow attacks and not enough resources to make more units because it's proxied and hits too early. Because last time I checked, you can't have one immortal be in front of your natural and in your backline at the time it hits. I like how you disregarded the comment I made about mines and Hellions entirely. Just pretend they don't exist and the words I typed about them are magically invisible in your imaginary world. And then you say how I cannot be helped by you. Well, you are correct. I cannot, if you cannot even argue with some sense of critical thinking and logic. Skipping. Protoss got 12 buffs, more than any other race. Terran got 9, and Zerg got 5. Well, this is a stupid argument. This is very dumb. This may be more dumb than the Protoss' argument. But moving on. No, Protoss didn't get 12 buffs. That's just you wanting to be in an imaginary land where every buff actually does something. The only actual buffs in this patch are for Terrans. No, he didn't talk about the battlecruisers really at all. Anyway, the actual buffs in this patch are for Terrans, and Terrans alone. I just hope when Terran gets 15 buffs and Marine DPS is halved, you'll still state how much buffs Terran have had. Because Mass Recall equals a nerf. Carrier equals a nerf. Tempest equals a nerf. Hot Templar equals a nerf. Sentry equals basically the exact same unit it was because it will still not be able to scout in time when a Terran is proxying. So, I mean, they buff Guardian Shield to have more of a radius, which is a buff. But it's basically the same. Okay. But you don't play Protoss, so you wouldn't know. Nah. Okay. Here we go. Kong is continuing the engagement. Showtime versus Special. I play every race, including Protoss, whatever. 1v1 me, bro. You play an extremely low energy, low Masters division on North America. That's like mid-diamond in the beautiful country of Europe. Rolling on the floor laugh. With a period. No wonder you're not responding to my Hellion Mine multitask. You probably basically move everything at the natural and pretend you know how to play. It's too hard for you to shift drop a medevac into the main before you move. And that's what you're pissed off about. That you are, in fact, bad at this game. Brace for impact, everyone. You know where the Native Americans didn't see the ships of Columbus approaching when he arrived because it was so foreign to them? You don't understand balance because it's too foreign for you with your low skill ceiling. You don't even understand half the game. The half where you're supposed to drop in the main when you're attacking the front at the same time. I won't even bother talking about timings, because I know low masters in EU don't even follow them. And you're NA. Which might as well stand for not applicable. All right. The carrier nerf is a huge nerf. Terran go bio, whatever. The new mass recall won't do anything. With mobility issues during the mid-game. 1.5 minute cooldown instead of 2 is still 1.5 minutes. It's 80 seconds, but close enough. The reason why no one uses Tempest is because they don't have DPS. They don't. Extremely slow attack speed and single target damage for a late game tech unit is just bad. Especially considering its cost in both terms and supply of gas and minerals. It's just bad unit design. They have one role, and that is versus siege units. Mobility won't help. It's abysmal DPS. And now with the HP decrease, Corruptors and Vikings can one-shot them. Nerfing carriers people are forced into the area of low DPS. Tempest is a forced decision. Because Blizzard wants people to be forced into long, drawn-out, boring games where PvZ will be 10 Tempest shooting at a single Spore Crawler one at a time. Where Colossus is the only unit that can reliably deal with everything until air pops up. You know, some of the points were now here's the real danger. Some of his points in this one were bordering on rational. That's the danger. Oh, and he replies again. And about the Sentry. You will have access to an ability that does basically nothing. Oh yeah, they buffed Hallucinate too. But Scout a little earlier. However, Adepts are still better scouting because they are faster, don't require you to wait. They can harass and are cheaper in terms of gas so you can tech behind. The Sentry buff does nothing for the unit. I play on EU at the same MMR. My dad could beat up your dad, etc., etc. Oh yeah, we're getting into it now. Replies back and forth. This is when you know it's getting good. I don't see anything resembling 5K whatsoever. After 3 posts, you still want to live in La La Land, pretending mines and Hellions don't exist, rolling on the floor laughing. Hit me up. How many games did you play on the new patch? Something, something. Something balls. Those balls you speak of. Do they always involve ignoring comments on certain units? Or hiding your EU profile from the NA forums? Because as it stands, you have literally said nothing about Widowmines nor Hellions, let alone Maru beating Protosses left and right with quite literally spamming Widowmines. And let's just ignore that all professional Protosses lose to a Terran spamming one unit that is basically free. I honestly don't know what unit he's talking. Are we talking about the mines? Is that the mines? Right? Like, it seems like we're talking about a different unit, but I think we're still talking about Widowmines. Alright. Yeah, he's still going on about that. Let's just ignore that one unit. Okay, while we talk about all-in revolving around them. That one. Unit that shall not be named. Protoss has to expand faster, blah, 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 boring points. How many games did you play in the new patch? I think the correct question... Remember, these are all of this is before the patch came out with the test. No one has played any games at all. This entire conversation. The correct question is how many units got nerfed into oblivion that I used during this patch versus every race. If I don't know the strengths and weaknesses of the units and supposedly using, how can I effectively use them? Then. This patch cuts out late-game Protoss. Carriers. AK, we are forced to all-in. It also cuts mid-game Protoss. Raven. Wait. I get it. But, AK, we are forced to cheese. Carrier nerf and feedback nerf is literally the death of a late-game Protoss. Carriers are literally unusable with this patch notes. Forcing Protoss to spam Colossus instead for high burst damage. Then, well, there's not much punctuation. All right, ready? Everybody buckle up. I'm gonna do it all. Carriers are literally unusable with this patch notes, forcing Protoss to spam Colossus instead for high burst damage. Then Vikings will be made with the Storm as the only answer due to Blinkstalker's extremely low health pool. Vikings long range, make sure they won't die. They cut Tempest HP in half, so they literally need half the Viking count to be one-shot. Feedback nerf makes it so Terran can just amass ghosts and snipe obs. Blanket EMP without real counterplay is possible. And Ghost that doesn't die to feedback is literally a ghost that you'll get for free because Medivacs heal. Any Medivacs that can't be feedback to death is literally Medivacs free waiting for repair. And when Medivacs plus ghost numbers increase, so do Marauders' survivability. With no real reason to attack an anti-air except the Colossi. Marauders will literally carry every Terran because Immortals get one shot late game by Marauders and build time of Immortals is too damn high. Moving on. Are you gonna play or not? That's it. That's all we got. Are you gonna show your EU profile plus comment on Widowmine Hellion harass or not? Play me online and I'll address mines and Hellions for you. I honestly couldn't tell you what EU account I played on. played sparingly on EU. Who cares? Nobody cares. Protoss will be extinct. Whatever. No, this is making fun of... It's a barcode posting on the forums, which is already hilarious. And just for your information, have you realized that maybe this time around, Protoss didn't get that buff to the Stalkers got back then, which got nerfed after even. There is 0 meaningful buffs for Protoss this patch, yet at least 4 devastating nerfs. Also added that Stalkers have clearly gotten worse against mines since that dreaded patch. Hence Maru abusing it to full potency. And also, we're still going. To another guy. Tempest were buffed, not nerfed. Tempest. Where nerfed? If you don't understand what focus fire means, what flanking means, please get better. As we have seen in the past, Colossi can get insta-killed by only a handful of Vikings. Did you know that you can fit like 8 Vikings in your hand? That's crazy how small Vikings are. Now, the same will happen to Tempest. Considering Colossi also have a long range, this is perfect example. Okay. Something, ba da 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 da. Do 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 da da. He's not talking anymore. We're still going. Where is he? I'm not Reed. Where have you gone? Okay. Oh, it's this guy. Total Protoss buffs 13 because somehow counting them. That's like one man got $1. Another man got $1 billion. That means 100% of people got more money. It's like, oh, okay. This seems like the... All aboard, everybody! I'm looking for the main guy. I don't care about anyone else. I want to see the original poster here. We're now learning how to do basic math. This guy really loves numbers. We're still going. But it seems like enough people got on board for the 1v1, and now where's I'm Not Reed? He said he was gonna play 1v1, well, after he addressed it, but then he didn't. Where'd he go? We lost him. Oh, he's back. Oh, he's back 20 hours ago. He woke up. He slept for 2 hours, because that's all the time he gives himself to sleep before replying on the forums. Alright, so... something about Ravens. Replying to himself, replying to something else, making Irvin swapping a tech lab to get one Raven out is not out of your tech path at all. Rex, okay. Alright, everybody get your notepads out. Get your notepads out. Rex fact plus tech lab, Stargate, swap, Stargate, swap equals Raven. Everybody got that? Alright, that'll be on the quiz. That'll be on the quiz. No, I don't. Go smaller. So, I hope you were paying attention. Medevacs change. Removing all shields from a Protoss army that costs twice. That's not how the Raven works. Okay. I just want to address this in case people are actually confused. The Raven anti-armor missile. Now, it doesn't remove shields. It does no damage to the shields. It just applies the armor debuff also to the shields. So, extra damage will be taken both to shields and to the HP underneath. It doesn't do any damage. No damage. Removing all shields from a Protoss army that costs twice as much, and then a Terran army, and anti-armor as much, then a Terran army, and anti-armor missiles literally a loss every single time, even if you have a bigger army. This is extremely impactful. Medevac, if medevacs change everything. because it's much easier to evacuate with a low cooldown timing, forcing Protoss to keep 5 Stalkers per base because feedback can't even be used to do real DPS. Because people were using feedback for real DPS against Widowmine drops in the early game. Mind change, okay, we're back to Widowmines. He's not a big fan of Widowmines. I have yet to find a committed Protoss who is, though. Mind change is the most absurd change there is. The mind change, for those who don't know, is that once you get Drilling Claws, which requires an upgrade from the tech lab of a factory, which you usually don't have if you're building a lot of Widowmines early, and an armory to start, will allow the Widowmines to remain cloaked, as they were a long time ago after they fire instead of becoming uncloaked, in addition to the quicker burrow. But you need to have the upgrade, which requires an armory and a tech lab. Just for those who know, mind change is the most absurd change there is. This is another example of bad balance. What happens when all obs are sniped and mines are everywhere? You auto-lost half your army. Yep, that is true. I'll give them that. What happens when you can't tag all mines with an oracle? Well, you already covered that. Mines are already extremely problematic in PvT. This will make them even more problematic. Basically, countering almost every form of harass. Hell, look at GSL where Maru, the mine spammer, is faced off against another Terran. Wait, what? Is faced against another Terran. It hard counters charge lot like nothing else in this game, even during this current patch. This is just adding insult to injury. The anti-Protoss patch. Just look at WCS/GSL. No Protoss is left in the round of 4. Yet the race gets nerfed into oblivion. Are we just... I mean... there were 2 Protosses in the GSL. Zest and Neeb. But they died to mines. There are none left now. They've been eliminated. Therefore, they were never in the round of 4 because Widowmines knocked them out. Alright. And now time for the final page of the conversation. Does he have... We've got multiple barcodes posting now. That was it. That was his final statement. So are you convinced? Has this convinced you? The people? Is this patch just a total conspiracy?
Good. Now I have your attention.
Here, the results. What do you think? You can weigh in. Those are the only 3 options. I've been convinced. And I will be right back.